Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the listing process. So we previously talked about how to create a CMA or your listing presentation, and then what to say and do during the listing presentation to get your listing contract signed. And then, but what happens? You get that listing contract signed, and now it's great, you got the listing contract signed, but what next? What do you do next, right? So as new agents, these are the things that you're gonna have to learn and do, right? So instead of having to learn on your own, we have this class, but we're gonna go through and summarize a little bit of what we've talked about before, about the CMA, the listing presentation, and then into the listing process and what that consists of, right? So here, again, we're gonna talk about pre-listing preparation and tasks, listing preparation tips, and then post-listing agreement tasks. So after you get the listing agreement signed. And so pre-listing is contact the sign company. These are things that you want to do right ahead of time in anticipation of getting the listing. Contact the sign company to see if the for sale sign company, open house signs, right? To see if there's any restrictions or ask them about that particular community that you're going to get the listing in, because there's some communities that have sign restrictions where you can only use a specific type of sign, a certain color, that they make all the realtors in that community use a specific sign. Otherwise,
Specific areas,
if you call the sign company, they'll tell you, yeah. So like if, I know Turtle Rock has, I think the blue signs that you have to have a specific size. They can't be bigger than that. But there's gonna be some communities or some tracks that require specific signs. So make sure that if you're gonna go on a listing presentation, you find out through the sign company if there's any restrictions for that community. You're gonna want to order a for sale sign or an open house sign. I would just, as a new realtor, order a for sale sign just to have on hand in case you get a listing. Most areas will allow you to use the regular for sale signs that we have with the Coldwell Banker logo. I think our signs are 24 by 24. And that way you have it on hand. And if you need to order a special one for a specific listing, then you order it at that particular time. Right? But I would just have one on hand. Also, make sure that when you do order the for sale sign, it says Coldwell Banker Platinum Properties on it, not Coldwell Banker Realty or Coldwell Banker Residential. Make sure it says Coldwell Banker Platinum Properties.
Oh, Carlos?
Yes.
I'm not getting any sound.
Let's see. I'm not muted. Can everybody else hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you okay.
I can hear fine.
Okay. Let me, Maya, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. So I'm curious, what would you recommend if I need a sign up here in Northern California? And I'm honestly, I'm looking for a very, like a premium large wood sign.
How large?
I mean, the sign that I saw for my client's previous listing was like, I mean, a good like 6 foot tall, like 3 feet wide, that kind of full wood frame.
That was for a home?
Yeah.
You could probably reach out to a local sign company in the area. Maybe.
That was that's what I was wondering, and I was wondering, should I go as far as to hold my information tight, but go to a Coldwell Banker locally?
No, I would. Yeah, you can if you want to, but maybe contact some of the agents out there that you've seen with those signs and ask them where they got their sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next, purchase the lockbox from Orange County Realtors. This is what the lockbox looks like. I've been meaning to bring it in for the past meetings to show you guys how it works and everything, what it looks like. And I'm gonna demonstrate how it works right now. But also subscribe to the Super E-Key. And again, you contact OCAR and sign up with them. They give you they have you download the app on your phone, and then they give you like an activation code, and then it'll start working. And also, add the lockbox to your Supra account, so you can access the Supra website, I believe, through the MLS, Sierra MLS website. And what happens is it'll allow you to log in to the lockbox itself. You have to add the lockbox to your account through Supra, and it allows you to set timing restrictions. For example, like let's say you only want people to show the property between let's say 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. And you state that in the MLS, and so nobody can open the lockbox, outside of those hours. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to stop the share so you guys can see me at home. So first thing you have to do is turn on the Bluetooth on your cell phone. So my Bluetooth is now turned on. And I'm going to my app, which is the Super E-Key app. And this is what it looks like when you launch it. You guys see at home, that's what it looks like. And there's a button here that says obtain key. So before I obtain the key, I'm gonna press on the bottom tray of this lockbox to wake it up. See, there's no blinking light. There's no blinking light. Once I push it, it wakes it up. There's like a red blinking light, so now it's on. And then I'm gonna press on the obtain key button. Obtain key. It's gonna ask for your 4-digit code. So you guys can hear it. So it's communicating with the lockbox. Says it can't communicate with it. Let's see. Oh, it worked. It didn't tell me that it worked, but it did work. All you do is you push the tray in, and then it pops out. Let me try it again. Because that was not a good example, but at least it opened, right? So I'm gonna obtain key.
Recently I've noticed we have to do it twice to open.
Or sometimes if you hold the tray up.
No, you have to keep pushing it. You have to keep pushing it up when it clicks. That's how it works for me.
Me too. Mine works like normal.
Mine was
Yeah.
normal, keep pushing it and pushing it didn't work.
So what happens when you push it up and then it says go ahead and open it? And you let it go, it won't work. You have to press it in for it to pop out.
It doesn't always
Should
pop
pop out
out.
right there.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like this.
Sometimes they don't pop out.
Even if that-
Anyway, this is a perfect example of why you want to show up to the property early when you're showing property, you're gonna do an open house, because you might run into this issue, so. Here we go.
Yeah, it works now.
That means open, so press it and the tray pops out, and then this is where the key is gonna be. So you guys see that I wasn't exaggerating, right, about something possibly not working right. So I'm glad that happened, so you guys can see for yourselves. So let's go back to. All right, any questions on that?
Hey, Carlos, I have a question.
Yeah,
Regarding the super fees, there's a basic option and a professional option. Is it worthwhile to purchase that professional, or what are the trade-offs between the two options?
I only know of one option. It's like $16 a month, and it's been like that forever. I didn't know there was another option.
Okay, there's a professional monthly fee of $27.68. I just didn't know what that was.
Yeah, I don't know what that includes, but yeah, I would maybe look into it to see what else it includes. But the $16 a month fee is pretty much all you need.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so preparing the listing presentation. We're gonna summarize that, obtain, property profile from the title company and a copy of the real estate tax report. We talked about this, right? To ensure that the person that you're speaking to is the owner of the house. Look up the MLS for any comps. Let me minimize this little window here. To come up with a listing price, prepare the CMA for the listing appointment, and then go to Zip Forms and print out a blank residential listing agreement and take it to the listing appointment. So this is all pre-listing, right? This is all, we talked about all this before.
So you could print a blank one?
You can. That is actually a good question. So to print a blank one, I would type in one or two, maybe two dots in where the name goes, or you're gonna have the address, right? So you can type in the address. But if it makes you type in a name, which it might make you type in a name before printing it, just type dot, 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 and it'll think that you typed in letters. And it'll at least be blank when you print it out, right?
Okay.
It'll have dots, but you can write in the name.
Otherwise, there's no place where it says blank one.
No,
Okay.
no, unless you're sure that that's the owner's name that you're going to see, that's the right owner of the property. You can type in their name, but you just never know, right?
Are you pulling a property profile from the title company just to make sure you have the right name?
Well, you want to compare the title profile to the tax records to make sure that the names are consistent, right? That you have the same owner on each. If there's a discrepancy in it, then you know there's a question, right? So you can either ask the title company, I would call Mary and say, hey, Mary, can you look into this to see who the owner of the property is? She'll dig in and, find out who it is. Or when you get to the listing appointment, you can ask the seller, oh, I noticed that there's another person on title. Is that person here? Or maybe call them ahead of time to make sure that they're gonna be at the appointment.
And Mary does that complimentary to us, right?
She does, yeah. Again, we're just summarizing all this. Now you're at the listing appointment, you prepared yourself for the listing appointment with your comps and your CMA, your suggested list price. And now at the listing appointment, you're gonna discuss the client's goals, price, how much do you wanna list it for? This is what I think you should list it for, right? Timeline. Do you have to sell right away? No, you have until summer to sell, okay, then maybe we can, strategize a little bit differently. Is there a specific move date that you had in mind, et cetera? Identifying the improvements of the property. How new is the roof? That's one thing, I don't know, that's the main thing that buyers usually ask, how old is the roof? AC unit, things like that, those are the main concerns typically. So let's move on, any improvements? Discuss comparable properties, right? We talked about it when you're sitting down at the listing appointment. These are the properties that sold. Again, like I mentioned during the listing appointment or listing presentation class, the flow of the listing appointment, of the conversation is gonna change with whoever you're sitting down with, right? You might not discuss all this stuff right away. They might wanna talk about their family, they might wanna talk about the history of their house. Oh, this was passed down to me by my parents, and this is where I was raised. Listen to the person speak. Sometimes they just want you to listen to them, right? And they get a feel for who you are. If you're in a hurry to just I just want to give you the comps. I just want you to sign. They're gonna know that you're right. You want to care about the seller, right? Because you're representing them. You're making money. You're trying to make them the most amount of money. And you have their best interest in mind. So sit down and listen to it. It could take you 15 minutes. It could take an hour of listening to their whatever stories they want to tell you. But at some point, if they want to talk about the comps, maybe they don't. Maybe they'll just say, give me the listing contract, I'll sign. There's going to be a point where you're going to discuss the comps. So that's when you discuss, these are the homes that recently sold that match your home. Same bedrooms, same baths, similar square footage. And then discuss the differences between them. This home was completely upgraded and this is why they got this price. And this is why they sold quickly. This home, although it was fully upgraded, they were overpriced and that's why they stayed on the market longer. So this is going to help. You're informing them as to the possibilities of what could happen if they overprice, no matter how nice your home looks, or if your property is not upgraded versus one that's upgraded, at what the potential purchase price could be or sale price could be, right? They might not get as much as the other home. But in this market, they probably will, right? Because everybody, it's low inventory and people just they want to win. Discuss pricing and timing strategy, again, same thing, right? Same thing I just talked about. Is it upgraded? Is it priced right? This is all gonna determine, you know, how long it's gonna take to sell the property. And discuss your marketing plan. So we talked about a marketing plan. There's a printout for you guys there. I emailed it out the last time we had the listing presentation class. You can use that to make your own marketing plan, right? There's a lot of things on there that you can discuss. And talk about Coldwell Banker as a whole, as a big brand. We're worldwide. This is one of the biggest brands in real estate. So brand recognition. And they haven't signed a real estate listing agreement.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
So number 3 on the checklist says call other listing agents and agents of recently sold listings. So is it just from an etiquette standpoint, it's okay just to call up the other agent and just say, hey, how many listings or how many offers did you get on here?
you can.
Can you
Yeah.
ask that?
They don't have to answer
They
you,
don't have to
but
answer,
no,
But there's nothing wrong with that.
no, not at all.
Because a lot of times if it goes in the same neighborhood, it's like the people who got rejected on that particular home, they might put an offer into your house too,
Yeah.
right?
All right, and here's what the listing agreement looks like, at least on a portion of the first page. So we have seller's name, brokerage name, Coldwell Banker Planner Properties. Listing period, you have to make sure that you have a beginning and ending date to this for it to be valid. Years ago, I would see where agents would fill this out with no beginning or ending date. Everything else is filled out properly. There were signatures and signature dates, but there's no beginning and ending date. So if there's no beginning and ending date, there's no contract. So make sure that there is a beginning. And sometimes the agent will be like, well, we'll just fill that in later. We don't have to do that now. You want to get a beginning and ending date.
Is the beginning date like the day that you sign it?
No, beginning date can be, thank you for asking it. So the beginning date is either the later of the beginning date on number 1 here, or the signature date. Whatever the later of the two is the beginning date of the listing contract. So, example, the beginning date here on number 1 is going to be May 1st, 2024. But on the last page, they signed today's date. So that means the beginning date is May 1st. Right? That's the later of the two dates. But in another example, the beginning date is today, April 4th. But they don't sign it until May 1st. The beginning date then would be May 1st.
So the latter of the two supersedes whatever is placed in that field.
Yes. Anybody have questions on that? That seems to be a confusing thing for a lot of people, but it's just whichever one is the latest date, that's the beginning date.
So day prepared means nothing really.
No, date prepared, thank you. So date prepared all the way at the top, that's just a reference date for if you're gonna add an addendum to this, it's gonna be, the addendum is gonna say, this is an addendum to the residential listing agreement prepared on that date. So it's just saying this couples that, right? That's the only time you're gonna use that reference date. But everything else, beginning date, is gonna be the later of the two from number 1 on this and the signature date.
So it could be different dates.
Yeah, they could be 3 different dates, the prepared date, the beginning date, and the signature date. But the prepared date, again, doesn't count for the beginning of the listing contract.
Quick
When-
question, fellas.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
A quick question, this is Maya. This is also where it's important that the beginning date, unless you've got instructions not to do so from the client, you're required to put it on the MLS within a certain amount of time, right?
You are, I think it's within two days, but you can, I think it's on it's on one of the next pages where there's an exclusion. You can either fill out that section or fill out the sell exclusion form to exclude the listing from the MLS until a specific date. So even though today's you can have today's date as the beginning date, and it's signed today. If you fill out the seller exclusion form, it says, don't enter into the MLS until, let's say, May 1st. You have the listing, you have to register that listing with the MLS, and there's a section in the MLS where you register a listing, let them know you have a listing. In case someone else gets the listing signed too, and then they try to sell it, you already registered with the MLS, so they know you have a listing, right? But you have to notify the MLS within that, I believe it's 2 days. But there's also a coming soon form, which you can, I believe, have today's date on the beginning date signed today, but the coming soon form allows you to put it in coming soon status in the MLS. So it looks just like a regular listing in the MLS, but you can't show it. And that will be active until 21 days or sooner, right? So you can put it on coming soon status no more than 21 days. So let's say you get the listing today, you want to build some anticipation, so you put it in coming soon status. You can't show the property, but in the meantime, they're finishing up the painting and all that stuff. There's an exterior shot that's on the MLS, because you have to have an exterior shot picture of the property. But you're getting everybody excited about that listing coming up, because that's the only listing in the area, right? In the meantime, they're getting it ready, getting pictures taken, and then the 21st day comes, or maybe 15 days later, you upload all the photos and then you convert it to active. But anytime there's a status change in the MLS, you have to have written permission or instructions from the owner of the property to change the status. So whether it's from coming soon to active, or from active to hold, or from active to pending, you have to, active to pending, you have a signed contract, right? So you can do that. But if you want to put it, change it to hold, and then from hold back to active, any of those change of status, you have to get some written instructions from the owner to do so. Because many times there's agents that are just like, I'm gonna put it on hold and I'm gonna see, make everybody think that maybe we have offers, or whatever the reason is. And then they put it back as active, thinking, oh, maybe if I change it to hold and back to active, people will think it's a new listing again. You have to have the owner's permission to be able to do that. So, any questions on that? Yes.
21 days, so it has to be within 21 days, no later than? Like if they.
Coming soon?
Yes.
So coming soon is kind of to market, it allows you to market the property. If you register the listing, that's a different thing. You can't market it. You can't show it. You can't do anything, right? If it's in coming soon status, you can market the property as coming soon, advertise it, do whatever you're gonna do. And you can't show the property, but if you do show the property, then you have to change the status to active after showing that property. I think it's within a day or something.
Can't be past 21 days. What if?
It's only valid for 21 days.
Oh, okay. And then you have to do it again?
No,
If it's not
no,
ready?
and then it goes to active.
Oh, okay, automatically. So you have to be sure that they're gonna have it ready in 21 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Or something else you can do, I mean, I wouldn't recommend you do this, but you can post date the beginning date to be, maybe you need a month for them to get ready. You could just say, the beginning date is gonna be May 1st. So you don't have to notify the MLS until May 1st, you enter into the MLS.
So if you do it in the way that you just explained, you're like, I can't put a pushes out till May 1st, but then everything gets ready early, you can just write an addendum, right?
Yeah, if it's available sooner,
If it's
you can
available
write it in, or, I think even just an email from the seller
Yeah,
will just
email.
say, yeah, go ahead and put it on the market now, change it to active.
As long as it's.
But- But actually, no, in that case, that's not gonna work. You have to get a modification of listing, a modification of terms that changes the beginning date.
Is that a-
Yeah, modification of terms is a form. And you change the beginning listing date, have them sign it. I would do it that way because that's more, that actually changes the beginning date. So I would do that. But keep in mind, if you post date the beginning listing date here to May 1st, if another agent sells it within this time frame between now and May 1st, you don't get a commission. Because your contract doesn't begin until May 1st, even though they signed it today.
You
So
can do
that's, yeah, that's one, I guess, con of, when we're talking pros and cons, that's a con of post dating the listing contract. So unless you have a great relationship with the seller, family member, friend, I wouldn't do that. If it's a family member or friend, maybe post date it to, have them get it ready, get the contract signed now. It doesn't begin until May 1st. that's okay to do that, but for someone that you don't know, that I would just get it signed today and get a seller exclusion form signed saying, don't enter it to the MLS until May 1st. And the beginning date starts today. That's how I would do it.
Seller exclusion form is another form.
Yes. Good morning, come on in.
Try to put the beginning day, the MLS day. That's all.
I'm sorry?
To put the beginning day is the same day as when you put it in the MLS.
When you enter into the MLS, it's gonna ask you what the beginning date is.
So this is, it should be the same.
Yes,
That's better.
yes, it should always be, yeah, it should never be different. All right, moving on, so post listing agreement, so now you have the listing agreement signed, right? You have the beginning date all set up, everything aligns. Now, what do you do? Now that you have the listing, you're like, just go celebrate, you go to Disneyland, excited, what do? So, schedule a photographer. This is a website that's very reasonable. They do a great job. A lot of our agents here use them. You can schedule the photo shoot on their website. And they have different plans. They have photos, they have aerial shots, so the bird's eye view, they have video, they have the Matterport. You guys know what Matterport is, the one where you click in the room and you can see all around and go to the next room and so forth. They have that available as well. But this is a pretty good company. We haven't had any complaints with them. So if you guys need a referral for that, there's one right there.
This is very important to the photographer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then, so you can take the opportunity to suggest to the owner to declutter the home. Refrigerate it, take all the magnets off. If you can, take down your family pictures, because people don't want to see your family in their house. They want to visualize their own family in their house. So maybe take down family pictures, declutter the counters in the kitchen, put stuff away, you know, just make it look a little more presentable, because again, they want to visualize their stuff in their
Right.
home. Any questions? Oh, lock up valuables. We talked about this before. I can't stress that enough. Put away any medications, have the sellers lock away or put away any valuables, because they're gonna have people come into their home. So please make sure. And once, after you tell them that, please make sure you send them an email reminding them. And now it's in writing. Now you didn't just tell them, now it's in writing. If anything ever happens, you could say, hey, look, I emailed you.
Right.
I told you, I've emailed you. It's out of my hands. All right. So another thing you could do is search for previous listing of the subject property. So what I like to do is I like to go into the MLS once I have the listing, or even before I have the listing, and look for other times that it's been listed with other agents. So it was sold maybe once or twice before, right? The same property. I look for that to print it out, because then I know there's certain features about the property, right? That are on the MLS printout. Let's say HOA, the name of the HOA, phone number, things like that, because maybe the owner might not have that information handy, but the last listing agent entered that information, how much the HOA fees are. And that's something you can confirm with the owner. Hey, are the HOA fees still this much? Have they changed? Okay, cool. So now you have that information. The HOA is not going to change. It's pretty much the same, right? So it's the same HOA, same phone number for the HOA, because these are all things that when you enter the listing into the MLS. Yeah, so guys, just so you know, when you enter the listing into the MLS, there's a lot of fields you have to fill out about the property. There's some that automatically auto-populate, like the bedrooms, baths, square footage, AP number, things like that. But then you have to add like, what kind of AC unit? What kind of air conditioning? Is there air conditioning? What kind of air conditioning? Heating, what kind of heating? Maybe appliances, what appliances come with the home? Is it,
Parking.
yeah, is there a garage? How many cars? Parking, HOA, a lot of things you have to enter. So just keep in mind, the more information you have available to you, the easier, faster you're gonna get through the process of filling this out. It's also gonna ask you beginning date of the contract, ending date of the contract.
Carlos, sorry.
Yes,
Just something that I wanted to share with everyone, my experience. I had a listing on the MLS,
Yes.
and you know how there is this box, it's called, let me go to, you know, that agent comment? So I had said, contact the agent, I guess, but it didn't have the phone number on it. but the phone number was down on the bottom, but it didn't have in that agent comment. So
Yeah.
I got a $250 fine from the MLS.
Because you said contact agent. Wait, where,
Contact,
it was under the public comments? Public
I
remarks?
think so, yes,
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up.
yeah.
So in the
I'm
MLS,
still confused, like, what did I do wrong?
okay, so in the MLS, aside from answering a bunch of fields, right, or entering information through a bunch of fields, there's a section for a property description. And so that's where you can type in beautiful, single family home situated in or nestled in a gorgeous blah, 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 blah neighborhood, well, whatever, right? So that's a public remark that's going into all the websites, right, for everybody to see. And the MLS doesn't allow you to enter any personal contact information in that box.
Is that the box?
Yeah, so you can't enter, yeah, you can't enter your phone number, your website, your email, any of that.
Just
Right.
the description.
Just a description about the property. And to take it even further, there's certain words you can't say that discriminate. You can't say walking distance to the beach, steps to the pool, because that discriminates against disabled people that can't walk. So
Are you serious?
Yes.
What did she get fined for?
for saying contact the agent.
Oh, because that
Yeah,
has nothing to
and
do
then
with.
Yeah, there's also, so there's gonna be two, on that same page, when you're entering the information to the listing in the MLS, there's a section for public remarks, and then there's another section that you can enter personal information to, and I think that goes to other websites, and you are allowed to enter the information there. And also, if you're gonna add a link to virtual tour or a website, it has to be a non-branded virtual tour or a non-branded website, which means the website or virtual tour cannot have your contact information or your brokerage information or your logo. It has to just be vanilla, plain, only about the property. But if you scroll down lower where it actually allows you to add branded information, you can add the link to your branded virtual tour, your branded property. So just keep that in mind. But I'm glad that you guys are bringing this up because these are things that like little things, right, that we don't know that
Exactly.
we don't know.
Sorry, so on the public remark, like I'm looking at the app.
Yeah.
So on the public remark, we should just talk about the property and we should be very careful not to offend anyone. On
Yes.
the agent remark tab is where I can put my information. Hey, call me at this number, blah, blah.
Private remarks.
There's
Or showing.
there's two of them. So on that page, there's public remarks, right, which is on the top portion of it. Is that what you're looking at?
I have public remark and I have agent remarks. Yes,
Okay,
both.
so that's different. You're looking at an actual listing, right, of someone else's listing?
Yes, I'm
So-
looking at it.
Okay, so if you were to go into enter a new listing, submit a new listing,
Mhm.
and go in that form, there's gonna be on the page where you enter the property description, and you scroll down, they will give you another giant box to enter a description. That's where you can add that. I'm not sure how they're,
Okay.
Still add your phone number on that second one. Page 2 of the add a new listing,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That page 2 is the one you're talking about where you write this paragraph about the property. And I don't think you're supposed to still put your phone number anywhere, either it's the first one or the second one, branded or non-branded.
Mhm.
Page like 3 or 4, I can't remember the MLS listing.
that's for agents, that's
Yeah,
different.
that's where you put your phone number.
Yeah.
It's like private remarks or showing instructions.
But on the form though, as you're filling it out, it'll tell you right above the box, what is allowed and what's not allowed. So it'll tell you, non-branded, don't enter contact, it'll tell you a little description of what you can enter there. So just keep an eye out for that. But then there's gonna be another section that, if you keep going down the form as you progress, for agent remarks, where you can tell other agents like, hey, make sure when you submit your offers, you include this, and that. Or, there's also a section for showing instructions, right? So if you wanna show the property, text the agent at this number with your, sometimes they'll say with your name, brokerage and DRE license number to make sure that you are a realtor, right, so they can look you up. And then the agent will get back to you and tell you, go ahead and show at that time, it's fine, right? Or they're gonna say, use showing time. Showing time is a program or app that allows you to set up an appointment. It shows you the calendar of what times are available and what times are not available. So, yeah,
Sorry, one more question.
Yes,
Sorry, so you said we cannot say at all walking distance to the beach
right,
anywhere on that listing?
right, yes.
What about we say there is a walking and biking trail nearby? Is that okay?
If it's called a walking trail, then you should be fine saying walking trail, but,
Okay,
yeah, if it's a bike trail and a walking trail, you can say that, yeah.
all right.
Because that's what it's called, you're not discriminating, that's what it's called.
So do you
Yeah.
say like 2 miles from the beach?
No, you
I
can
mean,
say
if
short
they're walking.
distance or minutes to the beach,
Okay.
you know,
It's not walking or running or.
Just,
short-
just,
short voyage to the beach.
just don't use kilometers.
When you write an MLS listings, it'll flag some words that you might be writing too. It'll like, won't let you hit save. It'll say like, you
Yeah.
gotta change this
Oh,
word.
does it?
Yeah,
A bunch
sometimes,
of-
yeah.
Yeah, I put a word or two I'm supposed to use, and then it kind of like stops you too.
Oh.
So that kind of.
Yeah, and it'll tell you there's something within your description that it's not permitted,
Maybe
yeah.
not right.
And then you have to try to figure out what that is.
Oh, yeah.
You should be able to.
Yeah, like you can't say this is for elderly people. Because you're discriminating against young people. You can't say this is for a young family. Because you're discriminating against older single people, right? So there's certain things you can't say.
Probably
Yeah,
say, like,
those are more examples.
like there's a Chinese community center nearby. Maybe avoid saying that, like, it's, I just don't.
Yeah.
think You should say that, you know?
Carlos, another quick question.
Yes,
So, I've loved the timing of these trainings lately. They're like perfect for me. Okay, I have a listing in Northern California. I have no problem just entering that into our local MLS then?
yeah, you should be fine.
But it won't, market and work.
It will. And it'll be on Zillow and everything too, so.
Then you could join it.
No, our listings show up there. Because they have their own board as well, right, Maya?
Yeah, but you know, I mean, through our MLS login, you know, I can see everything up here, so I assumed it would be fine, but I wanted to make sure that there wasn't like something specifically.
What I would do as well is I would join their board, because they give you these options to join the board, opportunities to join their board for like 3 months or whatever it is, right? I would
Oh,
join
really?
their board and add them to it, add the listing to it, I mean.
Oh, what, they give you like temporary access, or they?
Yeah, if you have a
Without-
listing up there, I would contact their board to see if that's possible. But
Okay.
just so they're anxious to see the listing as well, right? If they don't have access to our listings, I'm not sure exactly what they can see or what they can't see, but I know that when you search our MLS, you can find listings in that area.
And by going there, I may also gain a lot of good information about like.
Yeah,
the
because another thing you
services.
want to know too is are there any area disclosures, right? And
Yep.
because that's something that you might have to include with your disclosures, seller disclosures.
Right.
So another thing you want to have handy is the property profile, right? So the more information you have, the better. This is gonna show you the track number and all that stuff. That's another area that you have to fill out in the MLS about the tracks, right? What the track number is. So, and then submit the listing to the MLS. Once you upload all this information, add all this information, maybe you have your photos already, you can add them to the MLS as well. But remember, you have to have, if you're gonna have one photo, it has to be of the exterior of the property. And then make sure that after you submit the listing to the MLS, you also add the listing contract uploaded to SkySlope. So we have a copy of the listing contract. This is important because if anybody calls the broker and they're complaining about you and something you didn't do with the listing, then Rich can access the listing contract and he'll at least have something to look at when talking to these people. And if he's unaware of what the terms are in the listing contract, he can't defend you. So make sure that you upload your listing contract to SkySlope as soon as possible. If not, you're gonna get email from me the same week saying, hey, where's your listing contract? Then you install the sign. Remember that for sale sign that you ordered earlier on? Now it's time to install the sign. And again, remember to contact the sign company to see if there's any area requirements or restrictions for signs. Another thing you want to do is begin to market the property. Design a property flyer send it to the printer, have the property flyer set up in the house for your open houses or for any showings. You can create mailers or postcards announcing the new listing to the neighborhood. So let's say there's a neighborhood of, I don't know, 400, 300, 400 homes in the tract. Even if it's not the area that you're farming, let's say it's in a different city, print them out anyway, send them out to all the neighbors, because they might have a family member interested in buying in that neighborhood, right? You always have that one family that says, like, I wish a property came up on the market, I want to move by my mom, or, whatever it is. Now's their opportunity, and guess what? Then you can represent them, if they call you directly, right? Social media, announce it on social media. Same thing, anything you're promoting via flyers or postcards, you can also add on social media. So announce the listing, maybe boost the ad to the whole zip code to announce your listing. E-marketing, you can send an email marketing just listed to everybody in your database, right? And email everybody in the office. So you can send me an email, I'll send it out to the office announcing your listing. So all I need is a picture, the property address, price, and a brief description. I'll send it out to the office, new listing. You guys have seen me send that out. I think yesterday I sent one out for holding on the price adjustment or something. But yeah, let everybody in the office know you have a listing, because they might have a buyer that's looking for something like that. Any questions here? Okay. So if you plan on holding an open house, which most of you should, especially around this time, right? You can contact the title company and they can provide you with shoe covers. Because a lot of these homes have really nice white carpets or wood floors, and they don't want them dirty, they don't want them scratched. And then a flyer stand to place your flyers in. Advertise the open house to the neighbors the week before or a few days prior to the open house. Let them know it's gonna be, you can knock on the door and say, hey, just want to let you know we're having an open house this weekend. And you're not bothering them, asking for a listing. Just say, you're welcome to come by. We're opening it up to the neighbors. But also want to let you know, in case you notice a bunch of traffic coming by, it's because of, the people that were drawing in for the open house. And then it lets them know, okay, wow, thank you for letting me know, because if I saw a bunch of strangers in my neighborhood, I'd be like, what's going on, right?
So you can knock in door and you tell them like that?
Yeah. There's some people that don't like to knock on doors because they're like, what am I gonna say? What if they ask me something about the market? I'm new. In this case, you're just letting them know, hey, I'm having an open house this weekend, you're invited. But also want to let you know that there might be a bunch of people that you don't recognize because they're coming by to look at the open house.
But what I concern, if the small house, like 2,000 square feet is okay. But if very huge house, they have long distance, like a meeting house, long distance, you still knock it out, tell them, oh, I open house, it's good, not good.
It's up to you if you want to do it. I'm not saying you have to do it, but that's an option, right? That's something that you can do to promote the house.
You can take the flyer and staple a rubber band to it, just leave it at the door. And then you don't have to knock.
Yeah, but she doesn't want to go all the way to the door because there's like a long walkway.
But it's
So
right, there's probably, if there was a gate.
you can put it on the gate.
On
You
the
can put the
gate.
flyer on the gate.
Flyer, the open house, the flyer, right?
Yeah.
Just like if you just do like 30 neighbors or 50 neighbors.
Oh, okay, and they go out, business card, and then the flyer also, right?
Or something.
Like a rubber band, so that way you can put
Yeah,
it over
rubber band.
But
the door.
somebody, I think, like me, I take something and just throw away, and never open to see that.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. You don't want to do it. Just some people do it.
Oh, which way is better way for us, for sales?
I did it with a flyer and I put it with all the neighbors and we ended up selling the house to the neighbor's sister. So it works.
Oh, but you didn't knock, just put the.
I just walked around, the neighbors saw me and I talked to them. If they didn't talk to me, I put a rubber band. So I didn't knock because I didn't want to really bother people during the day.
Yes, somebody done it like,
Just my feelings, like how I felt about it, but if you feel like, it's called door knocking, but if you like to talk to people and you want to door knock, it's okay to door knock. And then you just talk to them about the market, But if you're uncomfortable with it, then just leave it on the door for them.
This is a perfect
Oh, which way
opportunity.
is better way? Which way?
There's no
is
better way, it's like what, it's kind of, each of us do something different.
So if you're gonna farm, let's say let's say it's an area that you farm. This is a great opportunity for you. You don't like to knock on doors because you don't like to, this is a great opportunity. Yeah, you don't like to talk to people, you're in the wrong business. So, but this is a great opportunity.
She doesn't like to talk to strangers.
No, so let's say it's an area that you wanna farm, right? You have to meet the people, and maybe they're at work all the time, but this is an opportunity for you to knock on the door and actually, you're not talking to them about, hey, I wanna list your house, you're inviting them, hey, I'm inviting you, right? You don't have to do it, but it's it's a great opportunity for you to get to meet them, or for them to meet you, because maybe they see your signs all the time, but they've never met you. They get your flyers all the time, but they never met you. Now's an opportunity for you to introduce yourself and meet them, and hey, I'm inviting you over, we have cookies and coffee, come on by, who doesn't like that? They might say, oh, no, thank you, or what are they gonna say? Don't knock on my door, it's an invitation.
People will say that.
Yeah, but it's an invitation, it's not, you're not obligated, hey, I'm just inviting you, we have coffee and pastries or something, we have an open house. We'd love for you to come by, even the neighbors like to come by just so they can see the inside of the house. The neighbors always wonder, I wonder what it looks like inside. What did they do to the house? I saw they remodeled it a couple years ago, but I'm curious to know what it looks like inside. Well, now they can go look, right?
Okay, but in the, a lot of neighborhoods, they don't looking for the house, but they don't have any idea to want to buy the house. It's okay, we welcome them.
Yeah, the more people that come by, the more you can tell the seller of the house. I had 100 people come by this weekend. Right?
We have one house.
Yeah, but the more people that come by, you did your job. You brought that many people through the open house. Whether it's a neighbor or someone that lives in another city, you brought all these people, all this traffic through the house. So you're doing your job by promoting the property, right? So that's good, whether it's the neighbor or not. Make sure you add the open house date to the MLS early on in the week. So if you know you're having an open house this weekend, maybe by Monday or Tuesday, you want to add it to the MLS, because sometimes it takes a few days to populate out to the other websites. If you add it on Thursday or Friday, it might not show up on Zillow on Saturday.
Oh, it's.
Yeah,
They
see,
take time.
yeah,
It's really.
yeah.
Another question, you said at the beginning, you send a listing and you just put the MLS.
Yes,
But when you send a listing, the house is not ready yet, we need to take picture, we need to clean the house, everything prepared. But not ready yet, you already put the MLS.
no, well, we talked about that. If it's not ready yet, you have the listing contract date begin today, but you get the seller exclusion form signed saying, don't put it in MLS until
Today.
3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, because it'll be ready then. But at least you have the contract signed today
But send today, but when we put the MLS.
on the day that the seller exclusion form tells you, put it into the MLS on this day. But, so what you would have to do, and this is a little confusing, is you have to go to the MLS and you have to register the listing. All you're doing is telling the MLS, hey, I have this listing. You're not entering all the information that you would for a listing, you're just entering the address, and I think the beginning date and the ending date, something like that. And then that's it. Now they know you have a listing. But you don't have to enter the full listing into the MLS for other agents to see until the date that's on the other form, yes.
Okay.
So the seller exclusion says, don't begin to market my property until May 1st. Right? On May 1st is when you have to enter into the MLS and make it active. Does that make more sense? Okay. Guys, any questions you have, ask, if it's not clear, I'd rather you guys leave here knowing the answer and not being confused. So thank you for asking. Another thing you can do after you get the listing is complete your agent visual inspection. Some agents wait until after they get an offer accepted. I would just do it right, just have it done, get it over with, right? Get all this stuff over with. And again, the visual inspection is exactly what it is. It's a visual inspection, right? So you're walking through the property. If you see, don't write inventory of like, oh, there's a fireplace in here, there's a carpet, and the agent visual inspection. It has a section for living room, kitchen, bedroom, right? So you can write in for the kitchen, if you see a broken countertop, like a broken tile on countertop. Okay, enter it, that's it. If you walk in, there's nothing wrong with it, just say no defects noted. or no deficiencies noted. But make sure that you address every room. You write something in to make sure that you're letting people know that you went into that room, that you didn't see anything wrong with it, or you did find something wrong with it. And your job is not to look behind the refrigerator or open the cabinet, under the cabinets and look inside, or check the light switches. That's not, it's visual. It's not move the couch. It's just,
We do that.
you walk into the room, oh, there's a broken window. Okay, in the living room, there's a broken window in the living room. Okay, cool. Next room. Oh, there's torn carpet in the master bedroom at the entrance. So torn carpet, entrance, master bed. The bathroom. The toilet seat's broken. It's like broken in half or something. Okay, or the toilet's broken in half in master bathroom, whatever you see that's wrong with the property.
Do we put like, if there's like a hole in the wall for a painting that was all behind?
You can,
we can't
like
do
if
that?
it's a nail
I mean,
hole,
obviously it's a nail hole.
yeah, if it's a nail hole, you could say, small,
You're not supposed to say
even,
small.
you're
large.
not supposed to say small or large or anything like that, but you have to say that there's a hole in the wall, right? If it's that apparent. If it's tiny, you're looking through, you don't see the tiny holes, I wouldn't say anything about it, right? Unless you're like going like this and like, oh, there's a little hole right there, and then there's a little, it's not what we're doing. We just wanna make sure that there's nothing like major wrong with the house, right? So, because there's gonna be an inspection, and the buyer's gonna order their own inspection report, and they're gonna have someone that actually does that for a living to come and inspect the property. They're gonna go, open turn on the water faucets and look behind the refrigerator. They're gonna do all that stuff, right? And then they're gonna give you a professional inspection report. Of
So
which
you
one.
don't need to try the washer, dryer,
No.
it's working,
Nope.
no, nothing.
Just the
Dishwasher.
property itself. What's wrong? Is there anything wrong with the property? Yes, no? Okay, there's nothing wrong with this room. Move on. Right, and then so under the bedrooms, it just shows bedroom, bedroom, bedroom. So next to bedroom, write in master bedroom, and then no defects noted. And then the next one, bedroom one, upstairs bedroom closest to the stairs. So you identify the bedroom as best as possible, or the bathroom. Because if you just say bathroom, 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 they don't know which bathroom you're talking about. So describe a little bit of where the bathroom is located, or that bedroom is located.
We shouldn't mention the painting, it needs painting, no, nothing, patching.
No, you could say like if you see what you think is mold in the ceiling, don't say mold, say black stain or or if it's a water stain, yellow discoloration or stain in the ceiling, in the bathroom.
walls.
Walls, maybe, if it needs paint,
It needs paint,
so what would be your idea of it needs paint?
so if it's not clean, it's not, so what should I write regarding the paint?
Discolored wall.
Yeah, you could say
If you
discoloration
wanna be
or,
very, yeah.
yeah, because you're not there to say this house needs a new paint job. It's just anything that's wrong with it, right? Like deficiencies or breaks or tears or things like that.
So you mean, the mold, look like mold, does it describe what it look like? In our diagnosis?
Yeah, because are you
We're not.
a mold
experts.
expert?
We're not a mold expert.
Yes.
So you don't wanna say it's mold, because we never tested it, we never paid the money to hire someone to test it, so we just say, discolor the wall.
Or you can say black stain
Black stain.
on the wall, or or if it's a
Something like
water stain, which we all know it's a water stain, right?
But
Yellow
we don't
stain.
know
Yeah.
what caused the stain, we just say.
So you
stain
just
on
say
wall.
yellow stain or discoloration or whatever it is. Any questions on the age of visual inspection? Nope. Okay, good, I'm glad we covered that. Also, you want to send out the seller disclosures for the seller to sign, right? So this is great to have this done up front, right after you get the listing, before you get any offers, because there's a couple of forms, as this seller property questionnaire and the real estate transfer disclosure statement that ask questions about the property. And you want the sellers to answer this all right away, right? So that once you accept an offer, you send these seller disclosures out right away. Because as we're gonna see on one of the next slides coming up, we talked about the timeline, the transaction timeline, right? If it's a 30-day escrow, and depending on the contingency removal dates or periods, the forms have to be in by a specific time. But if you have them already all filled out and signed by the seller, as soon as you set the offer, send them off. Because now they don't, that's not an excuse for them to cancel, right? Oh, we haven't gotten disclosures, we have more time to review them. No, you got them right now, like, you have 17 days, okay, get them back to assigned, right?
Hey, can I add something, Carlos?
Yes,
Yeah, just for, again, I keep mentioning Northern California. I'm up here in Mountain View right now. It's pretty wild for these higher dollar homes. Their disclosures include everything, including a completed home inspection, termite inspection, everything. And not only that, but many listings, when you want to submit an offer, they require proof of funds, proof of approval if it's, you know, a loan, RPA, all supporting addendums, of course, completed and signed Avid, and all the signed disclosures
they want to sign Avid from the buyer's agent?
from the buyer's agent and all the signed disclosures as part of the offer.
Well, if they're providing the disclosures up front, like before they even submit the offer, I can see that being part of what they're asking for, what they're requiring.
Yeah, but it's crazy, right? I mean, we're talking about, I downloaded a disclosure package of 36 documents.
Yeah,
And you know, of those, like 20 of them required signature. It just seems like a lot.
hey, you know what, at least they're not hiding anything, right? They're giving you everything up front. Hey, here's everything, you want to submit the
I
offer?
love that. I love that part of it. I love that part of it, but yeah.
Also, this is what an open house sign looks like. And then the sign in registry, or the open house registry, where you can have everybody that walks in to the open house, fill out their name, contact information. And if they're looking to buy or looking to sell, or if they're just looking. And host the open house. And so after you have the open house and you marketed the listing and everything, and you start getting offers. So you have to make sure to present all offers, no matter how ridiculous the offer is, you have to present the offer. You're not allowed to say, oh, this is way low, I'm not even gonna show it to myself. You have to show it to yourself. Unless the seller specifically says, don't show me anything under this number. Okay, and it's in writing, cool, okay, then I won't show it. Okay, but other than that, present all offers. And you want to review them with the seller too, right? You want to tell them what the difference between the offers is, because you might have 5 offers that are the same price, but they're different terms. Right, maybe one has no contingencies, maybe one has 10-day contingency, maybe one has a bigger deposit than someone else, or, you know, maybe one can close in 15 days, right? But they're all the same price. What's better? There's a summary of multiple offers form in the MLS that you can present to your seller. Let's say you get, this is for what, 5 offers. Let's say you get 5 offers and you can enter how much each offer is, and initial deposit, increased deposit, if there's one, what the loan amount is. Let's see, close of escrow. So how many days the escrow is going to be. Contingency period for the loan, for the appraisal, for the investigations. And is there a contingency on the sale of the buyer's property? Right, and is the seller asking, is the buyer asking for seller credit? That's all here. So actually, that's gonna be interesting coming up after July, what that's gonna look like, but. And then what items they would like you to include with the sale of the property. So this is pretty cool because you can compare them side by side without having to pull out all the contracts, right? But you're gonna have them all handy in case the seller wants to see them further, but. This is really good. It's a really good form to use. Yeah. Any questions on this?
Offers all have all that information on there.
Yes.
We just did that one.
And you can type it out within zip forms. All right. So then what's next is you're gonna accept an offer, or you're gonna send out counter offers. So let your seller know ahead of time that might be a possibility, right? That, hey, just to let you know, you might have to counter, you have the option to counter, you have the option to accept an offer or reject an offer. So if there's a bunch of offers that are pretty similar, you can send out, for example, a counter offer of send in your highest and best price. And this will force them to come up higher. If they want to stay in the game, they're gonna submit their counter offer that says, okay, our offer is, you know, maybe $50,000 over the last offer. But this way, you're gonna see what everybody's willing to do for it.
When you send a counter offer, it automatically updates the original offer. Is that true?
Yes. Okay. And if you're gonna counter one person, you're gonna send out a seller counter offer number one. If you're gonna counter 5 or 2 or more people, then you're gonna send out a multiple counter offer number one. And this is interesting. This is pretty cool, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, right? Because I've seen the counter offers that go on between our agents and other agents and how it's set up, but this is how it's supposed to go. If you send out, let's say I'm representing the seller and I'm sending out 3 counter offers. I'm sending out a multiple counter offer number one for each of them. And then once the buyer counters me, the buyer's counter, then it's buyer counter offer number one. And if I'm only negotiating with one after that, then I'm gonna send a seller counter offer number one back to them. Because it's no longer multiple, now it's seller counter offer number one. And then they're gonna send their buyer counter offer number two. And then that's how it goes, right? Or if I'm sending out counter offers to all two or more people, then it's gonna be seller multiple counter offer number two. Until I get to one, and then it's just gonna be seller counter offer number one, buyer counter offer back and forth. Does that make sense? You look confused.
No.
You look confused.
Yeah, I am. So like the first counter offer is number one and then.
Yeah, but there's a
Numbering
seller multiple counter offer and then there's a seller counter offer.
Oh.
If I'm gonna counter, if I'm just countering with you,
Mhm.
I'm gonna send out the seller counter offer number one. And then you're gonna counter buyer counter offer number one, countering my first counter.
Right.
And then I can say, my next one is seller counter offer number two. And then until we agree, right?
Oh, okay.
So there could be multiple counter offers going back and forth, I mean,
Oh,
more than one.
okay.
But if I'm countering all of you guys in here, I'm not sending out a seller counter offer number one, there's a form called seller multiple counter offer. And there's a section, an area to type in number one. So I'm sending out a seller multiple counter offer to each one of you. And then if I'm going to continue to counter all of you, then next time when you counter me, it's gonna be your buyer counter offer number one to me. And then I'm gonna send out seller multiple counter offer number two to each of you.
Oh.
Until I'm left with one buyer that I'm countering with. You guys are all out of the picture now, I'm only countering Gina. So after seller multiple counter offer number two, after she sends me her buyer counter offer number two, because we're negotiating. And let's say my seller says, hey, let's send out one more counter offer. Then it's no longer seller multiple counter offer, now it's seller counter offer number one.
But if I'm on number two.
Yeah.
And you finally everybody's dropped out, so then you're sending counter offer number one.
Mhm.
Then can I send one back that's number three?
Yeah. Yeah.
So mine stays.
But you're gonna send out seller counter offer number three, countering my seller counter offer number one. So there's a section on the form that allows you to write what you're countering. So she's gonna be countering my seller counter offer number one.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting, but I thought you guys might just to get you thinking, right, of what it looks like.
A question.
Yes,
Can I send the counter offer to different buyers?
you can, but if you're gonna send it to more than one buyer, you're gonna send out the seller multiple counter offer.
Okay,
That lets them know that there's more than one person being countered.
okay, okay.
If you just send out a regular seller counter offer, then it makes them think that they're the only buyer you're countering.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. That when you send out multiple counter offer, it puts everybody on notice that you're countering, that there's more than one offer being countered. And maybe there's an addendum that you want to send along with your counter offer, or I don't know. And then what's next is you accept an offer. After you guys negotiate and go back and forth, and maybe you don't go back and forth, maybe you just accept somebody's offer. Hey, that's a good price, it's good terms, we're happy, they're happy, let's just move forward, right? And that's how you want it to be, right? There's sometimes where one party wants to feel like the winner, and it's like you want everybody to be happy. It just makes the transaction so much smoother. So after you accept the offer, you're ready to open escrow. Because we all heard of open escrow. What does that mean? So you're gonna email the escrow company a copy of the purchase contract and any counteroffers or addendums. So all the counteroffers for that, just for that buyer, not all the other ones that you sent out. And you're gonna include the seller's contact information. So I'm the listing agent. We accepted an offer. I'm gonna contact escrow and say, hey, we open escrow on, we'd like to open escrow on this property. I'm gonna send you over the information. So this is what you're gonna send. The RPA, counteroffers and addendums, and then the seller's contact information. If there's two sellers, maybe husband and wife, you're gonna send both their information, email addresses, everything, phone numbers, because escrow's gonna wanna reach out to them, just, make sure that, if there's maybe any questions they have to send out escrow instructions and so forth. And then, deliver the seller's disclosures to the buy side. So after you accept the offer, you're gonna, like we talked about, all your seller's disclosures are already filled out by the seller. Send them to the buyer's agent. And then order your termite inspection if applicable. So maybe along with the offer, the buyer said, we would like for the seller to pay for the termite inspection. And the seller said, okay, we agree to do that. So now you as the agent have to order the termite inspection on behalf of the seller. But make sure that you talk to the seller to let them know, hey, this is what it's gonna cost you. Or maybe you reach out to a couple of different termite companies to get different pricing and then let them decide what, who they want to use. Yes.
With that term, I'm always getting a little tripped up with termite inspections. It's not a requirement to transfer property, that termite inspection or any inspection to be done, right?
Right.
It's not, whether you have a loan or you're buying a house cash.
Right.
But on the RPA, sometimes a buyer wants a termite done, they place an RPA seller to pay for a termite report or something like that, right? And then, but if they don't, then it's just not required. If a house can transfer with a loan without a termite inspection being done.
Right.
And if it's like, one more special, if it's like a property that's like HOA, condo association, a lot of times the HOA is in charge of the termite for the whole community. right?
Yeah, but only the outside, the exterior of the unit, not the interior.
Not the interior.
If it's a condo, yeah. But that's why I wrote if applicable. So if the buyer asks for a termite inspection, they don't always ask for it because they want their offer as clean as possible and accept it. But if they ask for it and they ask for the seller to pay for it, then you as the listing agent would order that termite inspection as soon as the escrow opens. Yes.
So the termite inspection and the house inspection, who's supposed to pay or negotiate?
Traditionally, it's negotiable. It's negotiable. Traditionally, for the home inspection, you're not gonna add the home inspection to the contract as a buyer's agent. Because the buyer's just gonna order their own inspection. Because they want their own company. They don't wanna use the company the seller's gonna use because maybe I know a guy that owns an
Yeah.
inspection company
So the
and I tell him, hey,
the mean is now standard, right? Now have to seller pay or the buyer pay, now standard.
No,
It is
no.
negotiable.
it's negotiable, but traditionally, the buyer pays for their own inspection report, physical inspection of the property. And traditionally, they ask the seller to pay for the termite inspection report. And usually the seller will accept, yeah, I'll pay for it, that's fine. That's
When-
traditional.
When I sell a house, I sold my house, and finally, the seller comes and the termite inspection, I pay, I know that. But the house inspection, I still pay. I say, why I didn't pay? Nobody tell me.
Was it on the, contract?
No, it's not on contract, the final,
The
I
extra
told, yeah.
documents?
And they say, why I paid? Nobody tell me that.
They usually
My
don't pay it.
agent told me, oh, this is standard, why I need to tell you? This is, you need to pay, this is
No.
standard.
But see, that's why we're teaching you.
Yeah,
No.
so
Yeah.
I say, oh, I don't know, so I just standard.
But the termite itself, it's
Nothing.
negotiable. You don't
Termite
have
is-
to.
It's not even, so the termite inspection is not even part of the contract.
Not the
That's something you have to write in.
Not the inspection,
It's
to
not
do it.
required.
But in like this kind of market where it's like so low inventory, you
So the
wanna,
buyer.
write everything so clean, so you don't wanna really ask the seller too many things, or they're just not gonna pick your offer.
Yeah, so right now, I'm noticing too that like Gina's saying is that buyers are not asking for termite inspections. Or for the seller to pay for termite inspections.
They're just gonna they're either ignore the issue of termite or they'll take care of it after they own the property
Okay.
themselves. Cause it's only a couple, you're talking about like a termite inspection, $150. It's not a lot of money. Either way, it's no big deal. It's not a deal breaker.
Unless there's like $10,000 worth of work, $20,000 worth of work needing to be
Yeah.
done.
If it's a lot, if it's really like a lot, well, maybe you have to decide whether you wanna buy the house.
Yeah, yeah,
You
right,
know?
So again, it's negotiable. It's not part of the contract. You have to write that in if you're a buyer asking for it. So, so we're talking about escrow. This is if the buyer asks the seller to pay for the termite inspection and the buyer agreed, the seller agreed, then you as the listing agent then would order the termite inspection. And, let's see, there's gonna be a request for repairs at some point. Maybe the buyer does their inspection, has their, inspection company come out. And, there's a lot of things on there they want the seller to fix. They can do a request for repairs where they ask the seller to pay for or repair certain things. Or they can say, you can please repair these things, right? We're asking for these things to be repaired. Or they could say, these are the things that are wrong with it. Here's a copy of the inspection report. Can you credit us, $2,000 in close of escrow towards the repairs? And that's a lot easier for the seller to say okay to than for them having to schedule the handyman and whoever to come and do all these things, right? So, there's, at some point, there might be a request for repairs, maybe there won't be, but if there is, then you have to make sure that the seller, if they agree to repairs, to have all that done, before 5 days to close of escrow, 5 days prior to close of escrow. Because that's when the buyer is gonna do the final walkthrough, and we're gonna see that on the chart. But, these are things that you have to, monitor throughout the transaction. And here's the chart, right? So, so before the number one should be day 0, and that's when you accept the offer. And then day 1 is the next day. That's so like if we accept an offer today, then Friday tomorrow would be day 1 in the 30-day escrow. So just so you guys know that tomorrow would be day 1, and this is a 30-day escrow. An example of a 30-day escrow. Let's say we accepted an offer, it's a 30-day escrow, and all the contingency periods are 17 days. So they're not gonna remove contingencies until 17 days. Do you guys all understand what that means? Contingency removals? Contingencies, okay.
Can you remind me calendar day and how the weekend works and how holidays work again?
So, okay, so let's say you have 3 days to deposit, to wire the deposit, to escrow. Right? Let's say you accept an offer today, tomorrow would be day 1. Saturday would be day 2, Sunday would be day 3. Escrow's closed on Sunday. So then that would carry over to the business day,
So it is a business.
day 4, yeah, it would be a business day. There's certain things that have to be, I guess, done on business days. Everything else is calendar days, and the deposit is one of them.
So lifted contingency cannot be lifted on a
On a
weekend
weekend or
or
holiday.
Sunday, on a weekend. holiday.
Yeah, we can. So in this example, which is perfect example, you wouldn't,
No.
it would carry on to the next day.
No. I'll skip the day.
So any questions on that?
So if it is 17 days to remove the contingency, including for example, 1 weekend, so it is 19 days.
It falls on that day, like let's say the 17th day
Yeah.
falls on a Sunday. The buyer's agent doesn't have to lift the contingency on Sunday.
Until Monday.
They can lift it on Monday.
Yeah.
And have one more extra
Yeah, so
day.
it is 19.
Yeah, so there's certain things that the performance doesn't, carries over to the next business day. And the deposit is one of them, and then the contingency removals is another. So that can't happen on the weekend. But everything else, I think is good to go, except close of escrow can't happen on a holiday or a weekend. Yeah. Okay, so back to this. These are things that the seller has to do. Everything that's in red, because we're representing the seller in this case, right? We're on the listing side. So let's see. The seller has to request the HOA docs, and this is gonna be through escrow. Escrow is gonna do that. But the seller has to pay for it. Right? And let's see. And the buyer or seller have to show evidence of their, if like, say, if the property's in a trust, they have to provide evidence to escrow that they're, you know, beneficiaries or trustees of the trust, right? So this all has to be completed by D3. From the buy side, they have to get their deposit in, proof of down payment, pre-qual, which they already did all that, right? But they have to have the deposit in by day 3. So we only care right now, we're talking about the list side. And then now we're gonna go over, so maybe there's nothing being done in these days, maybe you're doing inspection, all that stuff, right? So by day 7, the seller's disclosures have to be out. Remember we talked about having this seller's disclosure signed? And as soon as you accept the offer, send them out right away on day 1. We've already done that, guys. Guess what? Now we just sit back and just kind of relax for a little bit, right? Because we've already sent that out on maybe on day 1 or day 2. So by day 7 is when you should have all that stuff out. Seller's disclosures. Let's see.
So should HOA documents be ordered prior to the listing? Or
No, because I think you have to assign a buyer to it, a new owner to it. So that's why you have to wait till after.
Once escrow
Yeah.
one, and then escrow person.
Let's see, the seller has to have already signed the seller's updated non-foreign status. Let's see, seller delivered prelim, so the prelim should be out by then as well, and that's ordered through escrow, you don't have to do that. Let's see. And then again, seller notice the property located in combination, okay, so HOA docs again. Let's see. That's pretty much it. So a couple of things are gonna be done by escrow there. The prelim is one. The HOA is another, but then the seller's disclosures that you already sent out, that's pretty much it. Now, you sent it out, now you just wait for the buyer's agent to have the buyer sign all that and send it back to you, fully executed. So, and then once you get all this stuff, upload it to SkySlope. So we have a copy of everything. Again, we can't help you if there's a dispute, if we don't have a copy of what's already been signed. Right, so make sure you upload these documents as you get them signed. And then let's say day 8, 9, 10, there's a bunch of days in here that don't have anything. Maybe this is when you're doing the maybe you're meeting the inspector there, maybe you're meeting the appraiser there, whatever it is, but maybe you won't have anything going on. Don't freak out. You know, there's gonna be some days where you can be like, oh my God, what's going on? Are they gonna cancel? Oh my God. No, that's not the case. If you don't hear anything, it could be good, it could be bad, I don't know. But that means you did your job. That means you've already sent out the disclosures, you've scheduled your inspections, you met with the appraiser, you did everything you had to do, right? Now, from the seller side, the next date that you're looking at is the 17 days, right? Because you want the buyers to remove their contingencies on the 17th day. So one thing that you can do is send out a notice to buyer to perform on day 15. So this can only be done 2 days prior to the performance date. The performance date is the 17th day. So what I would do as a listing agent is I'm gonna send out a notice to buyer to perform. And on that notice to buyer to perform, one of the things is remove all contingencies. So I'm gonna check that box. Notice to buyer to perform to remove all contingencies. Otherwise, my seller can cancel. So during this transaction, the seller can't cancel. Right? The buyer can cancel. If they haven't removed their contingencies, they can cancel on day 1, they can cancel on day 10, day 17. If they haven't removed their contingencies, they can cancel on day 25, right? So they have this whole time to cancel on their own without the seller agreeing to it.
What about the deposits?
If it's a valid reason, they would keep their deposit, right? But if it's not, if they, like, let's say, well, they haven't removed their contingencies.
So he can.
So they can cancel and they get their deposit back. Yeah, but if you give them a notice to perform on day 15 and they don't remove contingencies by day 17, now the seller has an opening to cancel, if they want to cancel. Because the buyer hasn't removed their contingencies, right? They don't have to cancel, but now they have the option to. So you protected your seller in case they want out. Now they have an opening, now they have a way out. Because remember, they're trapped unless they do this. And so let's say they're like, okay, we'll give them a couple more days, and then the buyer removes contingencies on day 18 or 19, whatever. Okay. So contingencies are removed and now the buyer can't cancel. And with being able to keep their deposit, they can cancel, right? They're not gonna keep their deposit. So let's see. By day 17 or the performance date, the buyer removes appraisal contingency, especially contingency, everything, right? Loan contingency, everything. And then, carry on. Maybe there's nothing else to do. It's gonna be a few days. You might not have anything to do. Upload all your stuff to SkySlope, remember. And then we're getting closer to the end, right? So we're on day 25. Day 25 is 5 days prior to closing is when the buyer can do their final walkthrough. And the final walkthrough is pretty much walking through the property to make sure that the property was in the condition they agreed to. Hey, it looks just like it looked when we made the offer, but also to make sure that all the repairs that you agreed to do are complete. Or maybe there's no repairs.
That's his way.
Yeah, so maybe there's no repairs, and as long as the property, hey, this is, okay, there's nothing, maybe there's a giant hole in the wall. Hey, this hole wasn't here when we made, when we made the offer, what happened? Well, the seller has to fix it, right? But typically, the home is in the condition we agreed to. Okay, cool. The buyer signs, okay, everything's fine. And now you're getting closer to the close of escrow day. And so on day 27, if the seller has maybe a feeling that the buyer doesn't want to close on time or they don't want to close, then the seller can send a notice to perform, or sorry, it's not a notice to perform, it's a demand to close escrow. And if they don't close escrow on the specific date, then the seller can cancel without, being in breach. But that's worst case scenario. I haven't seen anybody do that. So now we're closer to close of escrow. Now it's day 30 and close of escrow. It's, it's funded, recorded. You drop off the keys or they pick up the keys or whatever you guys agreed to. And everybody's happy, hopefully. Any questions? Does this make sense though, the chart? Okay. Anybody at home have questions? And you might run into headaches somewhere along the way, Let's say there's, another example would be there's tenants in the property. And they said they're gonna be out by day 15 or something, or day 20, and they're still there. And now that's a whole other headache. Now, or let's say there's after you accepted the offer, the buyer's really happy. And then there's a leak, and then the whole downstairs floods. And like, oh my God, that could be a headache, right? Now you have a lot of things to do in between those days that you had nothing to do.
Can they ask for extension?
Yeah, they can, as long as both parties agree to it, yeah.
But sometimes 30 days, the room is not closed yet.
Yeah, sometimes you might have a hiccup where there might be an extra day, right? And that could happen. And as long as all parties are aware, maybe if the buyer might reach out, the buyer's agent might reach out and say, hey, the buyer needs like 2 more days to close escrow. And we talk to the seller's okay with it, then it's fine. Yeah, they have to agree to it, yeah. Because escrow's not gonna do anything unless they get an addendum or something where everybody agrees to it.
So next time, could you please make this one bigger?
No, I have that. I can give you a copy.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's see if there's anything else on here. Oh, yeah, any questions?
Wonderful. Thank you.
Nothing else? Anybody at home? Wait, did I put you guys to sleep?
I think I
No, that was
have,
good, Carlos. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes,
I have a question where, which,
but any questions about this?
Already I'm
Then,
running.
yeah, let me finish this off and then, okay. All right, guys, thank you very much. I'm trying to schedule the photo shoot for next Thursday instead of having the class. So, if you guys are interested in the photo shoot, I'm trying to schedule for next Thursday at 10.
For person or for the?
No, for each person. If you need a new headshot, I'll send out an email to confirm if we're able to get it done, but I'm trying to do next Thursday morning. Since you guys are already used to coming in on Thursday mornings for this, I thought that'd be a good time. But anyways, if not,
Thanks,
I'll send out, oh, you're welcome. I'll send out what the topic will be if we don't have that next Thursday. But thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.